Qiao, who has been a light for several generations, was reborn into the Tivat continent in this lifetime. He was eager for a peaceful life and was about to enjoy the hard-won peace when a large screen called the Previous Life Exposure System suddenly appeared over the entire Tivat continent. So, all his experiences from previous lifetimes were exposed. Dijia. Standing on par with the gods with the mortal body. Nexus. Light is a bond that will continue to be passed down. Gauss. A loving hero. Gaia. The guardian of the earth. Mengbiyous. An indestructible flame of friendship. Zeta. The ultimate hero calling out his true name. Funina. Trampling on freedom at will, what kind of justice is this? Worthy of Dijia. Alicia. Both light and humanity. That's right. I am both a lawmaker and a human. Zhong Li, Noah Ultraman. I can feel his powerful power of light. Qiyana. This belief will be passed down forever. The salary will burn forever. Lei Movie. The true eternity, perhaps I have misunderstood it all along. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, Previous Life Exposure. I am the human body of Dijia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tivat Continent, Maple Dan, hello, Mr. G. Qiao, why did you buy this haunted house? Enthusiastic journalist Charlotte is taking out a notebook to take notes, and the person she is interviewing is G. Qiao, who has a standard appearance of Liyue. At this moment, he leisurely took a sip of coffee and revealed the truth, because my full payment is only enough to buy this haunted house, it's both economical and affordable. It turns out that's such a realistic reason, haha. Charlotte smiled awkwardly. Ji Qiao just smiled faintly at this. Although this house is haunted all year round, who is he? In the past few lifetimes, he was the inheritor of light and had always maintained a rational attitude towards this kind of ghost and god talk. If it was just a groundless rumor, then he would have found a big advantage. Even if there is a ghost, he has never seen any kind of enemy in his lifetimes, and being haunted is not worth mentioning. Back in the day, he dared to be tough when facing the evil god Gaijitan. Hey, wait. What's that? Just as Ji Qiao was reminiscing about the past, Charlotte's words brought him back to his senses. Following her gaze, Ji Qiao lifted her head. Suddenly, I saw a huge light curtain emerging from the azure sky. Not only Maple Dan, but the entire continent of Tivat can see this huge light curtain as long as you lift your head. Even the jade pavilion above Liyue must avoid its sharpness. Immediately after, a huge light curtain emerged with a series of words, Previous Exposure System, Start. Integrating with other worlds. Collapse of the three worlds, already merged. Star Dome Railway World, integrated, Tivat Continent, already merged, starting to expose past lives. Extracting characters, the next second, a burst of crimson infrared light shot out from the huge light curtain. It seemed as if passing through the distance between time and space, shining on Ji Qiao's bewildered face in just an instant. Even Charlotte, who was interviewing beside him, was startled. Target character selected. Ji Qiao, exposed first age identity. Diga Ultraman human body. Daegu, what is the situation? Charlotte stared blankly at Ji Qiao, who had also reorganized her emotions after the initial shock. Although I don't know what this exposure system is about, since it can accurately reveal his first life identity and also know the word Diga. I'm afraid it's not something to deceive people. It's a bit interesting. At this point, Ji Qiao smiled and said, I would like to see what's going on with this past life exposure system. 3 minutes left until exposure time. Creating barrage system, chat group has been opened, Funina. Chat group. Speaking of which place is this? Alicia. Wow, it looks really interesting, Qiyana. Does anyone know who Qiao is? Diga. What is Ultraman? Ningguang. Even my Chuanyu pavilion is shrouded in this light curtain. Hehe, it's really interesting. Zhong Li. In terms of universal rationality, it seems that it is not an existence known to our world. Lei Movie. Silver Wolf. Why can't I find the person behind this light curtain? How does it actually connect to the internet? Kafka. Elio never said such a big event would happen. Luiying. There are many people here. As everyone in the chat group was communicating, 3 minutes had quickly arrived, indicating that the exposed video was about to officially start playing. As expected, in no time, the huge screen of light began to play about the experience of Qiao's first life. Luminous Diga. Naxida. Radiant. Diga. Is Diga something like an elf? Wendy. If it's an elf, then I really want to make friends with Qiao. People in Fengdan, do not disturb. Funina. I actually appeared. Neville Wright. I didn't expect Mr. Qiao to be in Fengdan too. It seems like I need to make time to visit him in person. Charlotte. Wow. Not only Lord Funina, but even Lord Novelette is in the chat group. This exposure system is really amazing. Xianyan. Humph, who said it's not? Even I don't know why I came in. Shenhe. It's Master. Ganyu. So everyone is here. Leaving aside the communication in the chat group for now, the screen is still playing. The first thing that appears is a vast Milky Way universe, like a ray of light in the endless abyss. In the early 21st century, hatred and conflict gradually decreased. Nature is slowly restoring its beautiful appearance. The wish of all living beings on this planet. Peace. Seems to have gradually arrived. Little did they know that a major change had begun at this moment. With a brief introduction, a meteorite crashed towards the water-blue planet. At the same time, the TPC Far East headquarters located in the deep sea also surfaced from below, and the Victory Swallow immediately rushed to the location where the meteorite fell. At this moment, the entire land where the meteorite was located suddenly collapsed, and a huge monster standing over 60 meters tall stood on the ground, roaring in the afterglow of the sunset. Monster Golzon. Blonia. What a big one. Silver Wolf. It looks like it's dozens of floors high. Compared to him, the human village looks so small. Naxida. Can the humans of that world really deal with such a huge monster? And it seems that they don't have the eye of God, so they can't use elemental power, right? Alicia. Oh, have you forgotten? Isn't there still some existence of Diga Ultraman? Since this life is exposing his identity, he must be the final protagonist, right? As Alicia said, with the appearance of Golzon, the Victory Swallow also quickly appeared in the picture. The man and woman in the cockpit were also shocked by the huge monster in front of them, Diga. Lena looked incredulously at the monster in the distance and murmured, "What is that?" The co-pilot, Diga, also known as Qiao's past life, was also shocked and said, "It's so scary. The monster is heading towards the village." Lena reminded. Daegu Dongji made a decisive decision. Launch signal flares to scare it. We need to find a way to change the monster's path. In the picture, when the Victory Flying Swallow fired a signal flare at Golzon's feet, Golzon actually stopped moving in the direction of the village and bent down to dig a hole, diving into the ground. Diga and Lena, who had not yet found a solution to Golzon, had no choice but to pilot the Victory Swallow back to TPC base and bring the meteorite that had fallen to Earth back to Victory's base. Alicia. Diga is Qiao's past life, right? If he were Dijia Ultraman, why didn't he see him take action? Barbara. That's to say, and at the end of the day, what exactly is Diga Ultraman? It's really okay to deal with such a big monster. Isn't it? March 7th. To be reasonable, can ordinary people really handle such a huge monster? Huang Quan. Indeed, and looking at the technology in this world, it doesn't seem to be advanced. Funina. Let's wait and see. Let's see what kind of strength Qiao has. 002, find the pyramid. The giant statue has been destroyed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While everyone in the chat group was communicating, the screen was still playing. I saw everyone from the victory team gathered in front of the meteorite, trying to decipher what it was. Quickly, after cutting open the meteorite through laser cutting, everyone suddenly discovered that there was a black technology with a metallic texture hidden inside the meteorite. At the same time, the entire TPC's power system seemed to suddenly malfunction, flashing. Just as everyone was still surprised, the triangular-shaped metal object taken out of the meteorite flickered with a strange blue light. The members of the victorious team were all startled and quickly distanced themselves. The next second, an image suddenly projected from this alien object. The woman who appeared in front of everyone was a woman with white hair and a white robe. She seemed to be saying something, but could only see her opening her mouth, but could not hear what she was saying. After calibration by the voice translator, the members of the victory team successfully heard the words of the white-haired woman, "Ladies and gentlemen, I am Yu Lian, the leader of the Earth Security Corps. The arrival of this time machine on Earth means that many great changes will occur one after another." The words of Yu Lian made everyone feel the impending crisis. The initial signs were the resurrection of the monster Golzon, which shook the earth, and the monster Melba, which shattered the sky. Monster Golzon. Daegu instantly realized and looked at the crowd. The monster that appeared in Mongolia is Golzon. The only ones who can protect the earth from the disaster of mutation are the giants inside the pyramid. Yolien continued, that giant used to be the protector of earth. He hid his body used for combat in a huge pyramid, then restored it to its original form of light and returned to his hometown. My descendants, your current mission is to revive the giants and defeat the monsters Golzon and Melba. Chat groups, Alicia. Is Golzon and Melba. Funina. Giants. The protector of the earth. Qiyana. Light. Naxita. It sounds like the giant of light seems to be very powerful. Eightfold divine sun. Can we say that Qiao is the giant of light? Silver wolf. But he's about the same size as an ordinary human, right? If you want to fight Golzon, at least you have to be about the same size as him, right? Zhong Li, don't worry, listen, Miss Yolien has more to say later. Upon hearing Zhong Li's words, everyone continued to patiently listen to Yolien's words. There is only one way to revive giants, and that is to make. At this moment, Yolien's projection suddenly became unstable and immediately disappeared. At the same time, the originally dim hall was illuminated again. Qiyana. Hey. How come the most crucial moment suddenly disappeared? Mengbiyous. The classic riddle man. Hachij Shinzi. I understand. Many authors of Hachij Tang's novels like to break this chapter. Funina. I really care. I can't even eat dessert. The screen continued to play, as Yolien had said, with the reappearance of Golzon, even Melba appeared on the ground. The members of the victory team finally believed what Yolien had said. In order to find a pyramid giant that could deal with these two monsters, Daegu and his team quickly arrived at the target location. After a difficult search, we finally succeeded in finding the pyramid. Meanwhile, the monsters Golzon and Melba also began to wreak havoc on Earth, seemingly searching for something. Neville right. These two monsters seem to be looking for something. Zhong Li. Indeed, their appearance does not seem to be blindly destroying walnuts. So what are they really looking for? Kaching. Since Yolien said that only the giants inside the pyramid can stop them. Is there a possibility that they also know that on this planet, the giants inside the pyramid can stop them? Ganyu. What Miss Keqing means is that they are also searching for pyramids. On the other hand, Daegu and others successfully entered the interior of the pyramid. In that magnificent light, everyone also saw the giant with the same size as the monster. Surprisingly, the three giants in front of me were all stone statues. Alicia. Wait, why is it a stone statue? Qiyana. Did the giant turn into a stone statue? Fu Xian. Although I don't know the hardness of the stone statues on this planet, these giant stone statues can't even move, right? How do we deal with those two agile monsters? Qin Ke. Is it difficult? What other methods are needed? Naxida. After all, Miss Yolian's words were forced to disappear before she could finish speaking, which may have caused everyone to miss the most crucial part. March 7th. So what should we do in that case? Xianyan. Look, Gorzon and Melba are moving towards the direction of the pyramid together. Upon hearing this, everyone lifted their heads and found that it was indeed the case. Gorzon and Melba on the screen set off towards the direction of the pyramid and soon arrived in front of it. However, even at this moment, the members of the victory team still couldn't figure out the way to revive the giant. At this moment, two monsters successfully arrived in front of the pyramid. Under the energy rays of Gorzon, the pyramid was quickly destroyed, leaving only three giant stone statues standing in front of them. The next second, Gorzon and Melba Zizi launched an attack on the giant statue, completely destroying its body with just one blow. Alicia. Oh no. The giant statue is about to be destroyed. Qiyana. Damn it, isn't there any way to stop them? Wendy. If all three stone statues were destroyed, I'm afraid no one can stop them from destroying them recklessly anymore. Pedophiles. What should I do? What should I do? My teammates. My teammates. Help me. In the picture, Gorzon and Melba quickly destroyed two of the giant stone statues, leaving only the last one. Just as they were about to destroy the remaining giant statue, Daegu piloted the victory swallow and launched an attack on them. Stop it. However, the signal flare, which had no killing power at all, had no effect on the two giant monsters and instead made them notice the existence of Daegu. Daegu, it's useless. Come back quickly. Vice Captain Zhong Fang shouted loudly. But Daegu could no longer listen and continued to drive the victory swallow towards the monsters Gorzon and Melba. Although he successfully dodged Gorzon's swing, Melba's energy rays then accurately hit Daegu's victory swallow. Boom. Accompanied by a flicker of flames, the victory flying swallow sounded a loud alarm. Daegu wanted to parachute out, but unfortunately, the parachute system malfunctioned at this time. Kelly. What to do? Is brother Ji Qiao going to die? QAQ. Qin. I don't think so. After all, hasn't Mr. Ji Qiao become a Diga yet? Lisa. Yes, Xiaokili doesn't have to worry. I believe Ji Qiao will be fine. 003, transform into Diga. Red power type. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As everyone in the chat group was communicating, the goo on the screen was already gasping for breath due to the thick smoke inside the cabin. And the victory swallow also fell straight towards the ground like a folded bird. The goo. The companions on the other victory flying swallow shouted out Daegu's name loudly, but could only watch helplessly. Nothing could be done. However, at this moment, Daegu, who was about to die from the crash of the victory swallow, emitted a strong light from his body. The next second, his body transformed into pure light and left the victory swallow, entering the body of the last remaining giant statue. Immediately after, the victory flying swallow crashed to the ground with a loud roar, splashing a fierce flame. Everyone on the victory flying swallow looked heartbroken and unbelievable, but they didn't notice. There was a blazing light shining on the top of the giant statue. After dealing with the victory swallow that harassed them, the monsters continued to target the remaining giant statues. I saw Gorzon walking towards the last stone statue, then lifting his foot to completely crush it. However, at this moment, the originally motionless stone statue strangely raised its arms, accurately blocking Gorzon's trampling. No matter how hard Gorzon tried, he couldn't press down. Gorzon. Even Gorzon, as a monster, couldn't help but feel puzzled. At the next moment, the giant statue's arms swung hard and easily lifted Gorzon to the ground. Like a hero appearing, standing on the earth. It's a giant. The giant has revived. Rita exclaimed in surprise. Novelette. Is he? Diga Ultraman. Zhong Li. Even through the screen, I can feel some kind of powerful power filling his body. Alicia. Since Qiao transformed into light and entered Diga's body, awakening Diga. Then this power should be light. Qiyana. So, Dijia is the giant of light. March 7th. So Qiao. Or what is his past life, Dagu? Humans. But can ordinary people become light? Leaving aside the communication in the chat group for now, Dagu on the screen successfully entered Diga's body and awakened the revived giant, immediately engaging in a fierce battle with the two monsters. Unlike human bodies, Diga, as a giant of light, can cause considerable damage to Gorzon and Melba. Every simple and unadorned attack of the Ping-A contains a powerful force of light, even ordinary missiles cannot damage a single inch of the body. At this moment, under the strong attack of Diga, it appears so fragile and unbearable. Even in the face of two monster sandwiches, Diga is not at all illusory. One enemy against two, never fall behind. Navia. Good, so amazing. Walnut. But why does Diga only use Ping-A? The law of consciousness. To be reasonable, since those two monsters can release skills similar to light, then there is no reason why Diga wouldn't. Qing. Is there a possibility, after all, it is Qiao who controls the body of this giant? Perhaps he has just started and is not very familiar with it. Jingyuan. It makes sense. Zhong Li. In terms of universal rationality, there is indeed such a possibility. On the screen, although at the beginning, Diga did not lose out with one enemy or two, the two monsters quickly adjusted their combat strategies. Gorzon and Diga engage in a struggle, while Melba launches a surprise attack. Even taking advantage of Dijia's inability to distract and worry, he distanced himself and released the light skill. Unexpectedly, Diga was hit in the lower back, and then was flapped to the ground by Melba's wings. Suddenly, the dust all over the ground flew up. Alicia. Oh no. It seems that Diga is at a disadvantage. Qiyana. It seems that those two monsters are also starting to understand division of labor in combat. Xianyan. In my immortal's opinion, if we continue to consume like this, it will only be more and more detrimental to Dijia. March 7th. What to do? Diga, come on. Walter. Don't worry, you see. There seems to be a slight change in the color of Dijia's body. Upon hearing Walter's speech, everyone lifted their heads and continued to watch. As expected, after carefully observing the two monsters, Diga seemed to sense something. I saw Dijia's arms crossed in the crystal in front of his forehead, his fists clenched tightly, as if he was accumulating strength. The next second, accompanied by Diga's angry cheers, the purple texture originally embellished on his body suddenly turned red. And his body was completely transformed into a blazing red flame that burned like flames. It seems to be full of a sense of power. Diga Ultraman. Powerful. The powerful Diga, who had transformed into a powerful type, took the initiative to approach. Upon seeing this, Gorzon immediately launched a light skill to block it. However, what Gorzin didn't expect was that the composite type Diga needed to dodge the light skill, and the powerful type Diga only raised its arm to block it, without any intention of dodging. Upon seeing this, Melba immediately fired a light skill to assist. So, the powerful Diga lifted his other arm again and crossed it in front of him. Block out the light from both monsters. Funina. Oh my goodness. This is too amazing. Qiyana. That's to say. Even though I needed to dodge just now and got injured after being hit, I managed to block it all with just 2 arms now. March 7th. Since that's the case, why not use the red form from the beginning? Walnut. That's to say. Charlotte. That's to say, Silver Wolf. That's to say. On the screen, after easily blocking the light attacks of 2 monsters, Diga collided and pushed Gorzin's huge body back in a row. Immediately after, Dijia wrapped his hands around Gorzin in suddenly exerted force. You can see that Gorzin's hard shell has sunk in. Roar. Feeling intense pain, Gorzin let out a mournful roar as he looked up to the sky. However, before Gorzin's screams came to an end, Diga grabbed its head with both hands and threw it over the shoulder, knocking it to the ground. Just as Dijia was about to continue pursuing Gorzin, Melba on the side appeared in time and launched an attack on Dijia. Dijia immediately sensed Melba's intention and kicked him with a roundabout kick. But, due to the slow speed of the powerful Diga, it was easily dodged by Melba spreading its wings. Wendy. I dodged it, Kuching. Is it my illusion? I always feel like Dijia's speed seems to have slowed down. Ningguang. Perhaps it was because Diga's power increased that his speed slowed down. In the picture, Dijia looked at Melba hovering above and then glanced at Gorzin, who was preparing to dig a tunnel to escape. He was about to capture Gorzin, but was attacked from behind by the light emitted by Melba above. Bang bang. 2 rays of light hit behind Diga, splashing thick smoke and flames. Dijia also squatted on the ground in pain, and taking advantage of this brief gap, most of Gorzin's body had successfully entered the underground cave. At the same time, the timer on Dijia's chest also flickered with crimson lights. Naxida. What is that? How did the light on Dijia's chest start flashing? Blonia. And she also made a rather unpleasant sound, feeling a bit off. Kafka. Is this a warning to Diga? Jeezy. But why did you suddenly issue a warning? Dijia doesn't seem to have suffered much damage at all. 004, Purple Aerial Type. Instant Monster Melba. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as everyone in the chat group was speculating, Diga had already begun to take action and saw him quickly running towards Gorzin's direction. However, Melba above the sky had already been waiting for a long time, and when he saw that Diga had taken action, it rushed back again. Still emitting a sharp moan in the mouth. In an instant, Diga turned his head and the crystal on his forehead lit up with a purple glow. As if sensing something, Diga's arms overlapped again in front of his forehead and he clenched his fist. Accompanied by a roar, Dijia's body unexpectedly transformed once again into all the purple texture. Diga Ultraman. Aerial Type. Kelly. Ah. Diga Ultraman has changed color again. He's so handsome. 77, it has turned into purple. Cheen. If red is to enhance strength and weaken speed, then purple must be to enhance speed and weaken strength, right? Lisa. It's really Cheen, and my guess is exactly the same. In the picture, Diga, who had switched to an aerial form, flew directly and kicked, accurately hitting the head of Melba as he raced down. Boom. Melba's huge body was hit and fell straight to the ground, splashing a lot of dust. And Dijia landed gracefully, turned around and posed for battle, continuing to face Melba. Roar. When Melba struggled to get up and wanted to continue struggling, Diga showed off his deadly move and concentrated a large amount of light in his palm, then swung his right arm forward with force. Its name is Lampard Light Bullet. Shoo! The arrow of light instantly hit Melba's body and exploded with a loud bang. Su Shan. How impressive. It's a flash kill. Kevin. Cool, Wendy. However, even though it's my first time transforming into a Diga, why is it so easy to fight? Even the skill release looks quite skilled. Eightfold Divine Sun. Indeed, it doesn't look like it's the first time transforming into a battle of Diga. Lei Movie. Listen carefully, the alarm sound on Diga's chest seems to be getting faster and faster. Everyone fell silent upon hearing the words. As stated in the Lei Movie, as time passed, the timer on Dijia's chest flickered more and more rapidly, as if it was about to go out. After defeating Melba, Diga lifted his head and looked into the sky, then extended his arms and flew into the sky with a whoosh. Disappeared in the sky. The crowd on the Victory Flying Swallow watched dumbfounded as Dijia left, but had not yet regained consciousness for a while. Funina. I always feel like if the timer goes out, what bad things will happen. Nexus. Can it be said that Daegu could not exist on Earth in the form of Diga for a long time? Pedophiles. Oh, by the way. So, if that's the case, Qiao. Or what about Daegu? March 7th. Yes. Since Daegu has become a Diga, how will he come back? Will he have to live like this giant all the time in the future? That's too inconvenient, isn't it? As if signaling the words of everyone, Daegu suddenly emerged from a forest and excitedly waved to the members of the Victory Flying Swallow. Seeing Daegu not only alive, but also appearing intact in front of them, Rita and others were both surprised and delighted. Although they couldn't avoid a scolding, they still sincerely felt happy for Daegu's safety. Qiyana. If they knew that Daegu was Diga, they probably wouldn't be surprised. Vivi, indeed, in terms of universal rationality, the mortality rate of an ordinary person's plane accident is 100%. Mengbiyous. Vivi, why did you learn to speak like others? Alicia. However, I didn't expect Daegu to be able to transform back into human form. Mengbiyous. That's right, it's quite magical. Hehe, I really want to study it well, Qiao. As the event came to an end, the scene on the screen switched back to TPC headquarters, and the projection device placed at the Victory Team base suddenly reopened. Yolian's figure also reappeared in the empty hall. There is only one way to revive giants, and that is. The ancient times have turned into light. As if sensing the sound of pity, Daegu, who was sitting on the Victory Flying Swallow, suddenly raised his head and frowned slightly. And Yolian's words continue, the name of the giant is Diga Ultraman. Dijia. Ultraman. Daegu murmured softly, feeling the presence of something on his chest. He opened his collar and took out an object he had never seen before. The Divine Light Stick. Funina. Daegu. Turned into light. Padophilus. Hey. How did I hear that Daegu? Boiled it into soup. The law of consciousness. Aren't you a cat-like person? Why is your hearing inferior to that of a normal human? Funina. Who is a normal human? I am a deity. Padophilus. Gods. Funina. Of course. I am the water god of Maple Dan. Zhong Li. It turns out to be the water god of Feng Dan, disrespectful and disrespectful. Lei Movie. It turns out to be the god of justice of Maple Dan. Please advise more. Nexus. The god of justice of Maple Dan, well known for a long time. Wendy. Hey, Twalin. Do something serious. Babados. Just as everyone in the chat group was communicating, the screen continued to play. In a mine, someone claimed to have seen a monster. After reporting this matter to TPC headquarters, they immediately sent someone to start investigating. Due to the appearance of the monster, TPC's senior management also began a plan to arm the Victory team, turning the Victory Swallow into a fighter jet specifically designed to deal with giant monsters. On the other hand, Daegu and Yerue also began analyzing the Giant of Light. From the light on his chest flashing to knocking down Melba, it was only a few tens of seconds. Yerue explained to Daegu, giants can only move for about 3 minutes on Earth. Daegu was surprised and looked at Yerue, are you so certain? Yerue nodded and switched the screen. Because after Golzon escaped, the giant did not pursue him. To be precise, he had no way to pursue it. Law of understanding. This scene seems inexplicably funny. Do you understand Diga better than Diga? Zhong Li, indeed. Charlotte. However, it seems that Daegu is also somewhat knowledgeable. Qiao. That's because at that time, it was still Diga's own consciousness guiding, and he still had a vague understanding of how to fight. Funina. Ah. My lord has appeared. Can you transform into a Diga now? Qiao. Tivat doesn't need Diga, and Diga doesn't need to continue fighting in Tivat either. Funina. Why do you feel inexplicably heavy? Qiyana. Can it be said that Dijia yearns for a peaceful life? 005, isn't it good to start with a red form? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Leaving aside the communication in the chat group for now, Yerue is still explaining the information about Dijia to Daegu. At the beginning, there were 2 types. Red and purple. When all the body colors turned red, he could fully exert his power. Daegu was somewhat clear and turned to ask, since that's the case, isn't it enough to fight in red form from the beginning? At first, I thought the same way. Yerue gestured to Daegu to continue watching the video. When his strength becomes stronger, his speed relatively weakens, and vice versa. When the body turns purple, the movements become more sensitive. But on the contrary, the strength also weakened. Navia. Mr. Yerue's analysis is really quite accurate. Zhong Li. Indeed. What can cause great damage to enemies is the red form. Yerue explained, and monsters like Melba, who are flexible, use their purple form to deal with them. Daegu suddenly realized, I understand. Giants can adjust their strength to deal with enemies based on their characteristics. Qiyana. Does he really understand? How does it sound to me like I'm confused? Blonia. Stupid Qiyana, can't you even understand this? Qiyana. That's not it. I understand now. Anyway, if you encounter strong enemies in the future, just use the red form Mang and it's done, Yai. On the other hand, the investigation team sent to the mine also successfully found the monster. However, when they were preparing to use the latest explosives to deal with monsters, they found that the powerful explosives they were proud of had no effect on the monsters at all. Instead, it completely enrages the monster. GZ. It seems that ordinary explosives are not effective against monsters. Hinadiya. Will it be difficult in the end, or will we still rely on Dijia? Alicia. If we keep fighting like this, Dijia must be very tired too. Alicia. No wonder Qiao just said that Diga doesn't need to continue fighting in Tivat. Returning to the Victory Team base, the analysis of Diga by Yerue and Daegu is also nearing completion. Finally, there is one more question. Yerue walked towards the projection device and turned on the switch, saying, why is only that giant reviving? Walnut. Well, isn't it because all the other giant statues have been destroyed? It's the kind that's torn apart. Zhong Li. Indeed. Neville right. Indeed. With the switch turned on, the figure of Yolien reappeared. My descendants, your mission is to revive the giants and defeat the monsters Gorzon and Melba. Yirui looked at the projection in front of him, his eyes full of confusion. Although it can be operated again, the final noise part still cannot be corrected. However, there is only one way to revive the giant. That is to turn the ancient world into light. Daegu. Upon hearing this sentence, Daegu's eyes instantly became panicked. He quickly turned his head to look at Yirui, but Yirui looked distressed and said, "You see, as soon as you reach the key point, you can't hear clearly." Qiyana. Hey. But I heard it very clearly, pedophiles. Yes, turning Daegu into light. Isn't that very clear? Lynette. Maybe it's the world over there that they can't hear clearly. Kamisato Ayaka. Is that so? On the screen, Yolian's projection suddenly approached Daegu, staring at his face and saying, "There is only one way to revive the giant, and that is to turn Daegu into light." It's Daegu. Turning into light. Daegu murmured, as if understanding its meaning. Tai curry. Yirui turned around and looked at Daegu in surprise, obviously listening incorrectly. "Speaking of curry, my stomach is also hungry," he said. "Ah. Oh. Daegu just realized it. "Are you hungry? I'll treat you to eat today." Yirui patted his chest. As he spoke, Yirui walked towards the direction of the restaurant, leaving only Daegu behind. And at this moment, Yolian seemed to have self-awareness and spoke to Daegu. "Daegu, your name is Dijia Ultraman. Aren't you a time machine?" Daegu was stunned. "This is a time machine, but it contains a high level of artificial intelligence," explained Yolian with a smile. "Why can only I hear your voice?" Daegu stared seriously at Yolian. "Because you are Diga Ultraman." "No." Daegu seemed to resist this title. "I am me. I am not some Diga Ultraman." "Alicia. Is it my illusion? I always feel that Daegu is very resistant to being called Diga Ultraman." Hinadiya. "It's not an illusion, is it? His appearance seems to be very repulsive." Qiyana. "But why? What's wrong with becoming a Diga Ultraman? Didn't Diga defeat a monster that humans couldn't even fight against?" Qiyana. "Isn't Diga a hero? Why would he reject being called Diga in ancient times?" Funina. "Maybe, from the bottom of his heart, he thought he wasn't even Diga at all." Neville Wright. Funina. On the other hand, facing Daegu's resistance, Yolian continued, "In your DNA, there is hidden the genes of the great ancient hero warriors." Daegu asked, "What is that thing?" "Because you have a divine light stick." Yolian explained, "This can prove that you are indeed the hero Diga Ultraman." Daegu took out the divine light stick from his pocket and immediately threw it forcefully onto the ground, saying, "Who wants this thing?" Funina. "Is it really okay for such a precious divine light stick to fall to the ground like this?" Qiyana. "No, it won't be broken by falling, will it?" Pato Felice. "We want it. We want it. Then let me ask you." Daegu looked at Yolian and said, "Since you have created such a high level of civilization, where did you end up going?" "Some people have died." Yolian's gaze seemed to be reminiscing about the distant past. "Some people have gone somewhere else." Daegu was puzzled and said, "But you have so many giants, can't they protect you?" "Ultraman will not interfere with human choices." Yolian explained, "This is because they are all light. But you are different because you are both light and human." Alicia. "Is it both light and humanity?" In the base of the fire-chasing moth, Alicia couldn't help but fall into contemplation upon hearing this sentence. Everyone doesn't know. In fact, she may seem like a human on the surface, but in reality, she is the lawmaker who destroys the world. But she doesn't want to destroy the world, on the contrary, she hopes this world can survive. But as a lawmaker, she is destined to stand on the opposite side of humanity. If it were Dijia, what would he do? Alicia murmured softly. 006, transform again. Both light and humanity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Yolien was communicating with Daegu, Yi Rui, who had originally left, returned with curry, and coincidentally, Yolien's image disappeared at this moment. As soon as Yi Rui came in, he saw the divine light stick on the ground and picked it up in surprise. What is this? He looked at Daegu and said, Is it yours, Daegu? Give it back to me, this is mine. Daegu took it from Yi Rui's hand and stared at the divine light stick for a long time, with countless thoughts. Qiyana. Although she said, who wants this thing, she still managed to pick it up quite honestly. Walnut. After all, the divine light stick can help him transform into a Diga. If any monsters appear again, he can continue to transform into a Diga and fight. Alicia. But perhaps the reason why Daegu resists being called Diga so much is because he doesn't want to bear this responsibility. Hinadiya. Yes, once you become Diga, you have to shoulder the responsibility of protecting humanity and saving the world. March 7th, protecting the world, saving humanity. It just sounds heavy. At this moment, the director's face appeared on the big screen of the Victory Team headquarters. Victory Team, follow orders and set off immediately. After hearing the command, Daegu immediately rushed to the attack location of the Victory Flying Swallow, but was informed that the aircraft had not been assembled yet. Due to the fact that only Zhong Li Fian-1 has been assembled, Lina and Zhongfang are responsible for driving to the location where the monster appeared first. Victory Flying Swallow 1, prepare to depart. Lina's stern voice rang out, and then she slightly tilted her head and spoke to the co-pilot Zhongfang. It seems quite impressive. Although the load on the Victory Flying Swallow caused some discomfort for the pilot Lina and Zhongfang, the armed laser loaded on it also successfully caused damage to the monster. Laser, shoot. Shoo. The light blue small laser burst out a fierce flame on the hard shell of the monster, accompanied by its howling. Pella. It really caused damage to the monster. Jingyuan. I didn't expect that human technology in this world would be so advanced. Vivi, but it only caused minor damage. To truly eliminate it. Isn't it enough to rely solely on this level of laser power? March 7th. Be careful with the words of March 7th, Lina, piloting the Victory Flying Swallow, collided with Zhongfang under the attack of a monster. Although the plane was not destroyed and people were killed, the impact of the emergency landing also made Lina faint on the spot. With blood streaming on his forehead, Zhongfang made a decisive decision and helped Lina escape from the Victory Flying Swallow. However, the monster's pursuit of them did not stop, and the petrified light emitted from their mouths petrified all the large trucks near them. It can be imagined that if this petrified light hits them, they may also be turned into stone people. However, despite being injured, they still struggled to escape the monster's pursuit. After an accidental fall, the monster's shadow still enveloped them. Pedophiles. What to do? If this continues, the two of them will be killed by the monster. Understanding the law. Where are my teammates? Where are my teammates? Save me. It seems to have heard the words of the law of understanding. Just as the monster was planning to kill the two, another Victory Flying Swallow appeared in time and launched an attack on the monster. After seeing it, Zhongfang breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's the second aircraft. The super mode of Victory Flying Swallow 2 has been completed. Well done." In the Victory Flying Swallow 2 aircraft, Horai cheered and said, "Daegu, let it taste the power of super strong light." No problem. Daegu pressed the launch button and said, "Ultra strong light, launch." The strong light instantly bombarded the monster, emitting strong white smoke. And the monster also let out a mournful scream, its massive body falling on the ground, and the next second, its entire body was blown apart. Teresa. Oh my goodness, it's really amazing that humans alone have eliminated such a huge monster. Vivi, to retract the preface, the humans in this world are even more powerful than I imagined. Silver Wolf. What a cool fighter. Esther. Although it may not be as good as a destroyer, in terms of technology in this world, being able to achieve this level is indeed quite remarkable. Funina. Even ordinary people can create miracles. Alicia. However, in this way, there won't be a chance for Dijia to appear, right? Dijia. Yes, although it's a bit regrettable, from a human perspective, it's also good. Not only everyone in the chat group, but even the winning team felt very satisfied with this victory achievement. However, just as they were immersed in the joy of victory, they suddenly realized that the entire earth was trembling. Earthquake. Lena looked at everyone. Is it a landslide? Horai speculated. Only Daegu seemed to have noticed and suddenly looked towards the collapsed ground in the distance. I saw another monster with a larger size than the one just now emerge from deep underground. Make a sharp and piercing roar. This sudden monster caught everyone off guard. There's more than one Gakuma. The director looked at the monster with a serious expression and said, that's it with those two tentacles. Alicia. I didn't expect there to be two more monsters. Novelette. The key issue now is that the victory swallow is stuck under the feet of the monster Gakuma, unable to approach at all. Dijia. What should we do? It seems that there are only these two fighter jets that can be piloted so far, right? Dijia. Is it difficult or not, can we only rely on Dijia in the end? Walnut. Look, Gakuma is starting to attack humans. In the picture, Gakuma takes huge steps and begins to approach the gathering place of humans. The crowd began to flee one after another, but Daegu ran in the opposite direction and hid in a place that no one could see. Immediately after, he took out the divine light stick from his arms and stared at it tightly with his eyes. At the same time, the monster also lifted its huge foot and stepped down hard towards the position where Daegu was. Qiyana. Oh no, Yai. Be careful. For a moment, a strong and grand light shone brightly. Transformed into millions of rays of light and condensed into the body of a familiar giant. It was Diga Ultraman. 007, Berserker form. Daegu happy type. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Alicia. It's Diga. Daegu has finally transformed into Diga again. Funina. Sure enough, we still need Diga in the end. March 7th. With Dijia around, you must be able to kill the monster in just a few seconds. Alright. Not only did the people in the chat group cheer for the appearance of Dijia, but even the victorious team members who were assisting in shelter on the screen became excited when they saw Dijia's appearance. Lena exclaimed happily, it's a giant, the giant has come to save us. On the other hand, Daegu, who transformed into Diga Ultraman, immediately began to fight against the monsters. Unlike the previous time when he was guided by his own consciousness, this time Diga was completely controlled by the human body. However, although strictly speaking it was the first battle, Daegu was not afraid of the stage at all. In order to protect the nearby humans, he resolutely stepped forward and engaged in a close combat with the monster. I saw Dijia riding on the monster, and Ott's sword lit up a sharp blue light, continuously hitting the monster's back, splashing a fierce flame. However, the monster was also unwilling to be outdone and quickly launched a counterattack on Dijia. A strange red light flickered, and the attacked Dijia instantly flew out and fell heavily to the ground. But Diga quickly stood up again, successfully dodged the monster's petrified light with a somersault, and then landed 360 degrees in front of the monster in an aerial spin, unfolding a new posture. Qiyana. Oh. How handsome, Alicia. It's really handsome. Nexus. Although strictly speaking, this was Daegu's first battle, the skills and courage he displayed were completely different from those of a novice on the battlefield. Dijia. Yes, after all, what he wants to protect behind his back is his companions. March 7th. Come on. Diga, Kelly. Dijia Ultraman, Kelly will also cheer for you. Tiger. Even the pitch-black Tiger Lord will cheer for you. 7-7. 7-7-7. Also. Cheer for Diga Ultraman. As time passed, the battle between Diga and the monster also entered a stalemate stage. However, at this moment, the monster's two tentacles released a light skill, and Diga was caught off guard and bounced off the ground. The monster, on the other hand, took this opportunity to charge towards the fallen Diga. Diga had just stood up to block the monster's tentacles, but was suddenly stabbed by its sharp claws that grew longer, splashing intense flames. Diga, whose body was severely injured, struggled to get up, but was once again hit by a monster. This time, two sharp tentacles hit Diga's legs solidly, accompanied by a dazzling spark, and Diga was thrown to the ground. Ganyu. Oh no, Dijia is injured. Shenhe. Indeed, as a beginner in combat, Gauss still lacks combat experience. Qiyana. If this continues, Diga will be in a very unfavorable situation. Nilu. It's already quite unfavorable now. Chihiro. Unfortunately, no one present can help Diga at the moment. Barbara. It's not good, look. Diga has been hit by the monster's light. Everyone raised their heads when they heard the words. As expected, Dijia's legs were petrified by the monster's light and were quickly spreading upwards. Oh no. Giants will turn into stones. Horai and others watched anxiously, but could do nothing. At the same time, the timer on Dijia's chest began to flash, as if telling everyone that Dijia had limited time to move on Earth. And the monster also aimed its tentacles at Diga, charging towards him with trembling earth steps. Xiao Gong. What to do? Dijia. Dijia is in danger. Heart C. And the petrified Diga cannot be avoided at all. This is terrible. Esther. But we can't do anything either. Just as everyone was feeling anxious for Dijia, they saw that Dijia was using all his strength to fold his hands over his head, as if he was accumulating all his strength. Immediately after, accompanied by a roar. The rocks that originally covered his body all exploded. At the same time, Diga also transformed into a powerful type. The color of the whole body has transformed into a red form symbolizing strength. Hua Hua. It appears in red form. Clara. And the rocks on Diga's body have also shattered. Gui Naifan. It's truly Dijia, really amazing. Diga, who shattered the rock, faced the monster again in a powerful form, easily blocking its impact and wielding the ultrapower fist. With just one blow, the monster was knocked to the ground. Great. Come on. Horai and others on the side immediately burst into excited cheers. On the battlefield, Diga cautiously kept a distance from the monster and was about to see the timing machine rush forward, but was blocked by the light skill released by the monster. But in a strong state, Diga's defense is several times that of the composite type. Faced with the light that previously troubled the composite type, the strong Diga is not afraid. Just overlapping my arms on my chest, accompanied by a roar, successfully broke the light enveloping my body. Immediately after, Diga leaped high and struck an ultra-strong hand knife, cutting off the monster's tentacles on the spot. Roar. The monster with its severed antennae could no longer use its light skills and was lifted high from the ground by Diga, crossing its head. Then thrown out with force. I saw the monster's massive body curved in mid-air, then plummeted to the ground with a loud roar, rolling non-stop. Seeing that the monster was already exhausted and Diga's timer was flashing faster and faster, he no longer hesitated and immediately used his ultimate skill. Dilasium Light Flow. Diga's arms gathered upwards from left to right, gathering high-density particles of ultra-high thermal and light energy on the timer, and then forcefully throwing them at the monster. The blazing energy of light instantly bombarded the monster, and after a brief struggle, the monster closed its eyes as if it had lost its vitality. The next second, its body turned into a rock and dissipated like the wind. Qiyana. All right. Diga has won again. Walnut. Congratulations. Congratulations, Funina. Indeed, justice will prevail. However, speaking of it. Charlotte looked at her master beside her and said, Mr. Qiao, if you transform into Dijia, then Dijia will be injured. As a human being, the great ancient. That is, your past life. Will it also? You're quite smart, aren't you? Qiao smiled slightly and looked up at the sky, as if recalling various past lives. Yes, it was Dijia who fought, but it consumed the physical strength of the human body. The injuries and stamina consumed by Diga will ultimately be reflected in the human body. Ah. So, if that's the case. Charlotte showed a worried expression and said, isn't it true that every battle of Mr. Daegu is a gamble with his life? This is too dangerous. Charlotte was somewhat aware and said, no wonder you in your past life resisted becoming a Diga so much. But why do you even resist so much, yet still stand up at critical moments and transform into a Diga to fight? Well. Qiao took a soft breath and spoke in a relaxed yet nostalgic tone, because I am also human. 008, is Diga an enemy of humanity? Otto starts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the screen, after successfully eliminating the monster, Diga Ultraman flew towards the vast sky as before. Finally disappeared into the clouds and disappeared without a trace. But everyone in the chat group knew that Dijia had just reverted back to Daegu. Under the sunset, with the resolution of the monster incident, the victory team also piloted the victory swallow back to the base. As the screen turned, the members of the victory team gathered again in the conference room, summarizing the lessons learned from dealing with monsters this time. As long as we put in effort to study weapons, we can continuously improve them. The problem is that you. The director swept through the crowd of the victory team one by one, with a serious voice. Those who use weapons should also progress with them. Captain Jie added, because it's not weapons that fight monsters, it's us. Ka-ching. Captain Zhu Jianhui is right. To protect the earth and humanity, we cannot rely solely on Diga. Ka-ching. While Diga is important, as humans, we cannot blindly rely on the power of Diga. Our own efforts are also important. Ningguang. Hehe, it really seems like what Yu Hengxing would say. Ganyu. Yes, it fits Miss Kaching's personality very well. Zhong Li. I think Miss Yu Hengxing's statement is quite reasonable. Ultimately, humans still have to rely on themselves. Xianyun. Yes, in fact, Dijia. Isn't he also a human? In the picture, Xinchen seems somewhat depressed but also somewhat grateful. You're right, if there weren't giants appearing, we might have turned into stones. Horai nodded and said, it's really thanks to the giant. I have an idea. At this moment, Daegu suddenly spoke up and saw everyone looking at him. He then spoke cautiously, even monsters have names, called Golzon or Melba, but giants, we keep calling them giants. This giant must be too pitiful. The law of understanding. This should be Dagu's true idea. Alicia. Yeah, although I say I don't want to be a Diga, I'm still thinking about Diga. Xiao Gong. I understand. This is called disdainful of integrity. When everyone heard Dagu's words, they all felt it was true. You're right. Zhong Fang raised his head and gave advice, he's as huge as a mountain. How about calling him the giant mountain superpower? Qiyana. Puhaha. Giant mountain superpower. This name sounds so tacky. Funina. There's really no aesthetic for naming. Neville right. Was it really tacky before? I think it fits quite well. Zhong Li. Indeed. Lei Movie. I also think it's okay. Eightfold Divine Sun. Oh my, is this the aesthetic taste of the elderly? Ganyu. Well, actually I don't think much of it. Giant Mountain Superb. It sounds clumsy. Horai thought it wasn't very good. Diga awkwardly smiled on the side, then mustered up the courage to speak. I think, call him Diga Ultraman, everyone. How do you think? That's a great name. This time, Horai agreed. Not bad. Upon hearing the recognition of Dijia's name, Diga was also very excited and immediately grabbed the hand of Horai. Not bad. It's really good. Horai expressed affirmation. Yirui pondered, Ultraman is his name, plus Diga. Diga Ultraman. Lina murmured the name and nodded. Well, that's a great name. In the end, everyone unanimously agreed to use the term Diga Ultraman to refer to the Giant of Light. Walnut. Fortunately there was no danger in the end, and Diga didn't lose his name in pain. Esther. Yes, if I were really called the Giant Mountain Superb, it would be a bit too. Hinadiya. Just thinking about it makes me feel embarrassed. Otto. Everyone looks really happy, but please allow me to say some disappointing things. Teresa. Grandpa. I didn't expect you to be here too. Otto. Hi little Teresa, long time no see, Grandpa misses you so much, Teresa. What kind of disappointing words do you want to say? Otto. Don't be nervous, I'm just offering some of my own insights. Otto. Although we in the chat group know that Diga's true identity is human, he is Ultraman fighting for humanity. Otto. But. For humans in that world, Diga is a completely unknown existence. Otto. Appearing for no reason, eliminating monsters for no reason, and then disappearing for no reason. Teresa. So what happened? Otto. Regardless of those humans who have truly been saved by Diga, for those who have not personally experienced it, can Diga's unknown yet powerful existence really make humans let go of their guard? Otto. Perhaps at the moment when Diga appeared, many people had already regarded him as an enemy equivalent to monsters. Qiyana. Enemy. How could this be possible? Everyone has seen that Diga protected humans and eliminated monsters. Otto. What you see is not necessarily true, and what you hear is not necessarily false. I'm sure everyone has heard of the strategy of using deception, right? Otto. Perhaps they will also fantasize that this is just a deception used by Diga to gain human trust. Otto. Even more extreme, even monsters may have been sent by the Diga faction. Diana. What this uncle said is so annoying. Diga is not such a bad guy. GZ. Although I don't want to admit it, Otto's words are not without reason, after all, the humans in that world don't even understand Diga. Rita. The unknown is the greatest fear of humanity. Rita. It is natural for humans to feel fear and worry about an unknown existence like Diga Ultraman. Alicia. Although it is indeed true, I always feel that such a fact is still so sad. Alicia. Even though Dijia has protected humans and eliminated monsters twice in a row, will he still be treated as an enemy by humans without authorization? Tiger. Diga Ultraman is not an enemy. Kelly. That's right. Diga Ultraman is not an enemy. Natasha. Huck. Cheen. Kelly. Just as everyone was discussing Otto's remarks, a new image appeared on the screen, with a prominent line of words appearing on it, the fable of the devil. The Kiriath people appear, P.S. I will choose some important plotlines to write, but Dijia's unit dramas are quite exciting. However, I still hope to write the final Holy War as soon as possible. 009, Alicia supports Diga. Dijia is not. You are listening at novelfull.audio. With the playback of the screen, everyone temporarily stopped discussing and began to continue watching human opinions on Diga. On the huge screen, the TV host displayed an image of Dijia, which eventually froze on him. She turned her head to Captain Zhu Jianhui and asked, "The giant that suddenly appeared in front of us. I heard you called this giant Diga Ultraman. Captain Mediator, is this Ultraman our human friend? Is it possible that he will pose a threat to us humans?" Faced with such a sharp question, Captain Zhu Jianhui smiled slightly and calmly replied, "Diga Ultraman, he possesses a power that we humans cannot understand and a way of thinking. As for where he came from, this question is being investigated by our victory team." Captain Intermediary Hui paused for a moment, his face slightly serious. "However, we all agree that Ultraman's appearance is to protect us humans." Alicia. Great. It seems that the victory team is still on the side of Diga. Alicia. If even the winning team doesn't support Diga, it would be too sad for Daegu. Hinadiya. After all, no matter what, Diga has really saved the lives of several victorious team members. Otto. But even so, it still cannot change the majority of people's views on Diga. After all, they don't understand Diga at all. Teresa. Grandpa. Don't ruin the fun. Kaching. Wait, you guys watch. That program host. Suddenly, it's flying. Upon hearing Kuching's words, everyone looked up and indeed found that the presenter, who was originally dressed appropriately, had suddenly transformed into a rather terrifying appearance. Not only was her hair loose like explosive hair, but even her face turned much darker as if she had been possessed by evil spirits. Under the frightened gaze around her, she slowly floated into mid-air, towering like a deity. "I tell you, the earth will soon be reborn. The sacred flame will burn all the filth clean. Ha ha ha." In the base of the victory team, the members of the victory team who watched the live broadcast were also shocked by the scene in front of them. Lena bluntly said, "It's really disgusting." Xinchen looked puzzled and said, "What is she talking about?" I saw the female host, who seemed to be possessed by something, continue to speak. "The Kiri Elad people will rule the earth, and I will prove it to you immediately." The next second, a blue light emanated from the female host and she fell to the ground as if she had lost consciousness. "Ambulance! Hurry up! Call an ambulance! Walnut! Kiri allowed people! Who the hell is it? Hanya! It seems to be a presence similar to Suiyang. Snow clothes! Is it possible to be attached to someone else's body? I didn't expect similar things to exist in other worlds. Hua Hua! Good, terrible-looking QAQ, Qiyana. What kind of Kiri allowed person? It doesn't seem like a good person at first glance. Kamisato Ayaka. This should be a declaration of war against humanity. In the picture, upon seeing this scene, Zhu Jianhui immediately realized the seriousness of the problem and hurriedly left the TV station. She opened the exclusive communication channel of Victory Team and told Deputy Captain Zhong Fang, "Someone attached their soul to the host's body through remote control, and all personnel entered the #1 alert state." Got it. Zhong Fang said he received it and immediately reminded him, "Be careful. Funina. Is it my illusion?" The deputy captain of the sect seems to be quite concerned about Captain Jiahui. Naxida. Yes, I can feel his feelings. Walnut. Oh, is it possible that they have any special relationship? Just as a few people in the chat group were curious about their relationship, another accident appeared in the screen. Boom. A violent explosion made Zhu Jianhui lift her head, and what caught her eye was a high-rise building in the distance that exploded with a loud bang. In an instant, flames surged into the sky, and thick smoke swept across the entire street, accompanied by occasional riots and screams from the crowd. This is the proof. Realizing the urgency of the situation, Captain Jia immediately returned to TPC headquarters and quickly held a discussion meeting with other senior personnel under the command of the director. Captain Intermediary Hui, at the staff meeting, someone raised an opinion. The director looked at Zhu Jianhui and said, "Do they think that giant, also known as Dijia Ultraman, will become an obstacle to Earth's defense?" Another senior executive seemed to be questioning Zhu Jianhui. "Do you think it's appropriate for you to say such rash things on TV?" Hasty. Upon hearing this word, Zhu Jianhui looked at the senior management with a stern gaze and retorted word by word, "I don't think I'm reckless. That's my feeling from observing Ultraman's actions, and I'm quite confident." Grasp. The senior management sneered and said, "I think this is a woman's intuition." Police chief. Another senior executive spoke up, "Captain Mediator is the person in charge of implementing the plan to negotiate with extraterrestrial organisms. So I think we should respect the captain's opinion." "Humph, can we take on the task of defending the front line of the Earth with this intuition?" The other party snorted coldly, "I've said it before. I've always been against disbanding our Earth Defense Force. Although it is now a time of peace, it is uncertain which day a country will launch an aggressive war. This is a completely different problem." The person stood up. "Don't argue yet." Finally, the director interrupted their conversation and spoke calmly, "The most important thing now is the Kyrie allowed person who sent out the aggressive message. How should we deal with it?" Esther. Indeed, in any world, wherever there are humans, there will be arguments. Aponia. I feel sad. Sakura. There's no way, humans are just such creatures. Otto. Yeah. The biggest enemy of humanity has never been the end of a natural disaster, let alone any extraterrestrial creatures. It's humanity itself. Walter. On the other hand, the Victory team also began investigating the destroyed building, but apart from the clue that the building was not destroyed by explosives but by some mysterious force, there was no other clue. Captain Zhu Jianhui seemed a bit disheartened. With the advice of the team members, she prepared to return to her room to rest. However, just as she was leaving, a ghostly figure flashed before her eyes. Zhu Jianhui noticed something was wrong and immediately chose to chase after her, but lost her at a corner. Having lost her goal, Zhu Jianhui had to return to her room first, but she didn't expect someone to sneak into her room unnoticed, as if waiting for a long time. "Who? Don't be so loud, I just came here to say a few words to you." The mysterious intruder sat on the chair, looking quite calm. Jia Jiahue calmed down and faced him directly, questioning him, "Are you from Kyrie aloud? P.S. Could you please find flowers and evaluation tickets? Please provoke ORZ. 010, Captain Zhu Jianhui was ambushed. Dagu Rescue Field. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Walnut. Damn it, Captain Intermediary Hui is in danger. Pedophiles. Where are my teammates? Where are my teammates? Help me quickly. Alicia. I know you're in a hurry, but don't worry yet, Phyllis. Alicia. Judging from the other person's tone, it seems like they still want to talk to Captain Intermediary Hui first. I am. The other party paused and then looked up. I am a prophet responsible for transmitting information. Taking advantage of the other person's gaze not being on her, Zhu Jianhui calmly activated the monitoring device at the corner of the table, transmitting their conversation to the Victory team's conference room. Then, she continued to calmly ask, where exactly did the Kyrie around people come from? They should introduce themselves first. This is basic politeness, isn't it? Alicia. Wow. You truly deserve to be the captain of the Victory team. Even in such a crisis, you can still remain calm and wise. Dia. It's really amazing. Qiyana. Indeed. Zhong Li, Captain Zhu Jian Hui's fearlessness in the face of danger is truly admirable. Neville right. And she can also activate the listening device without being detected, transmitting their conversation. Jingyuan. So the rest is to gather as much information as possible about the Curie allowed people. In the scene, after learning that Captain Zhu Jian Hui was in danger, Zhong Fang instructed Daegu and Lina to act secretly, preparing to rescue the captain, while he continued to grasp the situation in the conference room. And in the face of Captain Intermediary Huey's words, the mysterious intruder smiled, "I truly deserve to be the captain of the winning team," with a great sense of humor. Okay. The person slowly stood up, his eyes fixed on Zhu Jianhui, and said, "Please pay tribute to the Curie Elad people first. First of all, from you." "Why did you come to me?" asked Zhu Jianhui. However, the other party did not provide a clear answer and only continued, "There isn't much time left. If you don't show respect to the Curieth people here on behalf of Earth humans now, the next step is the K1 region. You can't do this." Captain Intermediary Hui immediately reprimanded. "The sacred flame can burn all the filth." The intruder picked up a photo of Intermediary Hui and her son and said, "But there's a way to stop it." He turned his head to look at Zhu Jianhui and said, "You can do it. Don't joke with me." Zhu Jianhui stared at him sternly. "Are you willing?" He just asked indifferently, "Captain Intermediary Hui, are you willing to show respect?" "Qiyana. How could I possibly be willing?" Captain Intermediary Hui. "Never agree to him. Walnut. That's right, this kind of person doesn't seem like a good person at first glance. You absolutely can't agree to him. Kamisato Ayaka. But it seems that if Captain Juehue doesn't agree, she will be in danger, right? Yakong. Indeed, if one considers their own life safety. Appropriate compromises can also be understood. Stop Cloud. But in the end, it still depends on how Captain Jiahui will choose, right? The silence of Intermediary Hui seemed to explain everything. And the other party also noticed this and sighed softly, "What a pity." The next second, he threw the photo in his hand towards Zhu Jianhui and disappeared immediately. Upon seeing this, Zhu Jianhui immediately opened the room door, only to find Daegu and Lina who were already ready to break through outside the door. "What about that man?" Zhu Jianhui asked the two of them. "Male." Daegu looked puzzled. Lina explained on the side, "No one came out of your room." "How could it be?" Zhu Jianhui searched around again, but still couldn't find any trace of the man. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly ran towards the conference room, saying, "K1 area." After entering the conference room, Captain Zhu Jianhui immediately issued an order. "Yi Rui team member, issue the fourth alert order immediately. Dispatch the Victory Fian." "Yes." Yi Rui nodded and said, "New City team members, please fly to K1 area immediately." "New City." "Understood." Immediately, Captain Jiahui continued to issue an order. "Find the images of K1 area." "Yes." After the image was opened, the members of the victory team saw a replay of the scene where the original high-rise exploded with a loud bang. The intense flames and thick smoke swept across the entire street, as if the whole earth was trembling. Tiger. Good, what a terrible explosion. These despicable villains. Kelly. Dijia won't let them go. Qiyana. That's to say. Diga wouldn't do such a thing. Damn Curie Elad. Not only did everyone in the chat group feel angry, but everyone in the victory team also felt extremely angry when they saw this scene. However, even though it was their second attack, the victorious team was still unable to investigate the opponent's attack tactics, let alone find out where they were hiding. At a moment when everyone was at a loss, Captain Zhu Jianhui suddenly remembered that the man who claimed to be a prophet had touched the photo she had placed in the room before. By scanning the fingerprints on the photo, she found out the identity of the mysterious person. Mitsuo Banxiao. Quickly, Zhu Jianhui drove alone to the residence of Banxiao Guangxiong and successfully entered his room. However, through the system's reminder, Zhu Jianhui was shocked to receive the news that Banxiao Guangxiong had stopped his life activities 3 years ago. Just as Zhu Jianhui was still digesting this information, she suddenly noticed movement behind her, so she immediately drew her gun and aimed it behind her. But I was surprised to find the figure of the Kiri Elad people floating in mid-air. So you're from Kiri Elad? Ah. The next second, a strong beam of light hit the wrist of Zhu Jianhui, throwing the gun away. Immediately after, the Kiri Elad people launched a series of attacks, nailing the mediator to the wall. Padophilus. Oh no. Captain Intermediary Hui is really in danger now. Kuching. It's true that you shouldn't have gone deep into enemy camps alone. At least you need a partner. Charlotte. The current situation can be said to be extremely critical. Pella. Captain, you must hold on. I believe everyone will come to save you soon. In the picture, even in the face of a life or death crisis, Zhu Jianhui remains calm. She questioned Mitsuo Itabashi, why did you come to me? The Kiri allowed people returned to the appearance of Mitsuo Itabashi and stared closely at Yashiteru, because you want to admit the existence of that guy. Which guy? Asked Intermediary Hui, gasping for breath. We, the Kiri people, had already arrived on Earth before he arrived. Banxiao Guangxiong did not answer, but continued on his own, he arrived later than us and was so reckless. We cannot tolerate it. Do you understand? Qiyana. He said, shouldn't it be Dijia? Navia. But, Dijia is not at all reckless, is he? Chihiro. Whether it's Diga or not, just the jealousy he displays cannot be a friend of humanity. Kyuki Nin. That's right, let alone this guy who claims to be Kiri allowed, who has repeatedly harmed Captain Yoshikawa, it's unforgivable. At this moment, Dagu followed the clues and found the residence of Banxiao Guangxiong. After opening the door, he successfully met Banxiao Guangxiong and the crisis-stricken Captain Zhu Jianhui. Captain. Be careful. Seeing the arrival of Dagu, even though her own life was threatened, Zhu Jihui still remembered to remind Dagu. Upon hearing the sound coming from behind, Banxiao Guangxiong slowly turned his head and took the opportunity to pull the trigger, releasing a large amount of smoke. But Banxiao Guangxiong has disappeared without a trace. At the same time, the mysterious power of imprisoned intermediary Hui also disappeared without a trace and fell off the wall. Dagu hurriedly rushed over and helped Captain Zhu Jianhui up. Alicia. It's okay, but in the end, we were saved without any danger. Pedophiles. That's to say, it's really close. Esther. However, how did Dagu find this place on Earth? Naxida. Perhaps it was the sense of being a Diga that made him notice something. Kuching. Anyway, it's okay. P.S. First update, continue to request votes. I went to write the second one.